Hi, I'm Dr. Julia Guseva, and I'm the first year writing coordinator. And what I'd like to tell you guys is about our two main first year writing courses, which is 101 and 102. 101 course starts with rhetorical analysis. And if you hear the word rhetorical analysis and think this is something super academic, I don't know what it's for, I can give you a quick example how you could apply this to your real life. Let's say you're late with a paper and you want to ask your teacher to accept that late assignment. You're going to use rhetoric to do that. So what do you use in rhetoric? You can use the appeal to logic. You can say to your teacher, you'd like me to succeed, right? You want your students to succeed and graduate. So this is the reason why you should give me an extension. Or you could apply to appeal to emotions. You could say, you know, my cat was really sick. Don't you love cats? Don't you feel sorry for sick cats? And this is why I was late with an assignment, so please accept it. You can also appeal to credibility. You can say, you know, I'm a good student. I'm never late with papers. This is just the only time. So what I'm trying to tell you is that writing 101, even though on the one hand, it prepares you for academic assignments and your other classes, but it also helps you in real life. You can understand rhetoric. You can understand ways to create logical arguments and to think more logically. Also in writing 101, we work on research papers. We work on a kind of a basic research paper just with a couple of sources. And then we work on a more involved research paper, and you choose your topics for all these papers so that then you get to learn something that you're interested in. In 102, we focus a little bit more on fiction. So we start with a literary analysis essay where you look at the story. Again, you choose a story and you decide what is the theme of the story? What is the author telling us? And how is that theme created? So that's the first essay. The second one, you compare a couple of different stories, or maybe you compare two characters in the same story and you write an essay about that. And then you do a research paper, but of a very different kind. You take something in a fictional story. Maybe let's say a fictional story is about the sinking of the Titanic. And you know the story is fiction, but at the same time, you know that, of course, the event actually happened. So you can go and do some research on the sinking of the Titanic, and then you can use that research to understand the story more and to explain the story in your essay more. And to keep you guys engaged and interested in both of these courses, in 101, we have a discussion thread that goes across the whole semester that focuses on social media literacy and media literacy in general. We talk about truth and lies on the internet. We talk about echo chambers. If you don't know what it is, it's basically when you click on like all the time and then you end up just with information that you like or you agree with. And when you meet somebody in real life who has a different opinion, you look like, wow, they're like an alien from a different planet. How do I even start this interaction? So we try to break all of us out of that habit and be more open to different viewpoints. And in 102, we have a mindful reading discussion thread that helps you apply what you're reading in stories to real life. You know, a lot of stories are written about love or death, revenge, betrayal, all those real topics that we deal with in real life. So we try to help you make a connection between those fictional characters to real issues in your life. And I think that's my 4 minutes.
Hi, I'm Frankie Rollins. I am English and Honors Faculty and Creative Writing Discipline Coordinator, and I'm here to talk to you about creative writing courses at Pima. The Pima Community in Creative Writing is a shiny, happy place where you can take a variety of courses. We have a new course, which is a survey course, Writing 201, which is going to hopefully start this summer, where you could get a little taste of poetry or fiction writing or nonfiction writing. And from there, you can move into our other abundant courses. We have poetry courses, short story courses, creative nonfiction courses, and Writing 162 is literary magazine production, where you become the staff that creates the Sanskrit magazine, which is Pima's art and literature magazine for all of the students on all of the campuses. So that's an incredible opportunity. Many, also, once you're taking these courses in writing poetry, fiction, or nonfiction, you could submit your work to Sanskrit and try to get something published. Many of our community members who are writers, publishing writers and teachers, got their first publication in Sanskrit magazine. So that's a really cool aspect of the creative writing community. Our creative writing faculty all write and publish or have written and published in their lives, so they know what it's like to face the blank page with nothing but your imagination and maybe a prompt. So we have a very knowledgeable and passionate and compassionate set of faculty members teaching these courses. And in these courses, you learn a lot about the specifics of that craft, as well as you'll be writing, like there's 5 poems per semester in some of each faculty member actually designs their own creative writing courses, so they all have their own flavor. So you might write 5 poems in a semester and have them all commented on, and then you might submit revised 5 revisions of those poems. And you'll be doing a lot of reading of creative writing that's out there in the world also in these courses. And many of our Pima students will take all of the creative writing courses that they can and then move to a university elsewhere and become English majors or creative writing majors. In this year alone, we have 2 students who left Pima, took all of our creative writing courses at Pima, went to the U of A as undergraduate creative writing students, and now are pursuing masters in creative writing at Antioch University and University of Arizona. So it's a really beautiful way to begin your learning in creative writing. Also, one of the other things is it does create such a sense of community that many students will get to know other creative writing students from their classes over time. And there have been several writing groups that have emerged where they'll just meet on their own time and keep helping each other continue to grow and learn as writers. So we hope you think about taking a creative writing class in your time at Pima. Thank you.
Okay, I guess I'm up. I'm Dr. Eric Aldrich. I am the discipline coordinator of literature here at Pima, and I just want to talk a little bit about our spring literature offerings. These are the literature offerings we have in total, as a matter of fact. So I'm going to start by talking about Literature 280, which is our introduction to literature class. This class transfers directly to the U of A as English 280. So if you're pursuing English at the U of A, this gets a core class done for you. This class looks at approaches to reading and interpretation. It looks at literary theory. We study various genres. And it's a really fun class to get started. The other classes we have are topical. So I'm going to talk about them a little bit differently. Like Intro to Lit, you might read a variety of different types of literature from different time periods on different topics because you're just studying how to, participate in literary studies in general. But our other classes are topical. So we have Lit 224, which is Southwestern literature. This class was designed and is usually taught by Dr. Sandra Shattuck. This is a great class. It has a local focus. We read local writers. We talk about issues like border culture and conservation. The next class I would mention is Lit 225, which is science fiction. This is a class that I created and I teach. This class is really, really fun. It's always very popular. And so if you want to try to take the class, it's smart to register quickly because it fills up. We look at science fiction stories by Arthur C. Clarke, Ursula Le Guin, Octavia Butler, a whole variety of writers. And then each week there's also a project post, which has you look into some aspect of science fiction culture in addition to the literature and share what you find with each other. The next course is Lit 227. That's literature and the environment. That course is constructed very similarly to science fiction because I also designed and teach that course. It's going to be taught for the first time in spring 2023. So I really hope somebody will, or some folks will join us for that class because it's always exciting to teach a new class for the first time. The course is focused on nature, sustainability, issues to do with environmentalism. There is a local focus on the Southwest. And we read some really interesting writers in that course too, including local writers like Allison Hawthorne Deming, Beth Alvarado, Logan Phillips, and some other local folks. Lit 231 is Shakespeare, and our instructor for that course is usually Dr. Jennifer Wiley, and she does a really great job teaching Shakespeare. She knows a lot about the time period, so you're not just reading Shakespeare's plays and sonnets, you're learning about the history and the culture through Shakespeare, and there's so much you can talk about just by reading Shakespeare. That's the only class we have that's dedicated to just one writer. Lit 261 is modern literature. That's literature from the modernist period, which is the 19 teens until about the 1940s. People like T.S. Eliot and Virginia Woolf. This is a good foundational class if you want to take more literary studies, because these are sort of foundational writers that sort of defined how writing continued in Western culture after their time period. And then we have two survey classes. Survey classes study a particular literature in a culture over the years. So we have American Poets, which is usually taught by Dr. Steve Salmoni, who himself is a notable local poet. And that course studies poetry from various time periods. It looks at different elements of poetry and different types and forms. It's a really in-depth class on poetry. Lit 262, Lit 265, I'm sorry, is Major American Authors. That's another survey course. We start in the colonial period and we read a bunch of major authors throughout American history. The last time I taught that course, we read Thomas Pynchon's Crying of Lot 49, and we read Cormac McCarthy's No Country for Old Men, and we watched the movie. And so that's a fun segue into our last course I'm going to talk about, which is Literature and Film, which is primarily taught by Dr. Nahal Roddick at the Northwest campus. That class is somewhat comparative. You know, you read the book and then you watch the movie and you compare the two, but you also learn how to analyze a film as a work of literature itself. I always hear people love that class, and my students who have taken that class with Dr. Roddick always have amazing things to say about it. So those are our literature offerings. Whatever type of literature you're interested in or you enjoy, we have some way to connect that to you here at Pima. And I think I'll just stop there. Thanks.
I think I'm up. Hi, my name is Maggie Golston. I am the department head over here at West Campus for Communications Division, including writing, literature, reading, communication, and journalism. Speaking more broadly, I hope that, believe it or not, in my class today, students asked, they were incredulous. You can be an English major, they said. It was probably because they had been so encouraged to choose a career that they couldn't imagine. I mean, you can't just hang out a shingle and say, hi, I do literature. Most of us do end up teaching, but an English major is a terrific major as preparation for any of a number of careers that involve critical thinking and written communication. And that might include everything from the law, moving on to law school, to work in the corporate world, in public relations, other kinds of content creation, editing, etc. So welcome. And yes, English is a major. And for some of us, it's a way of life. Some of us have gone all the way to the Master of Fine Arts, which is a terminal degree in creative writing, or to the PhD level in either creative writing or literature. Another place, if you love to read and write, and you're looking to design your course load for a semester, it can be hard to find these courses. English is not a prefix here at Pima. You'll find all the writing-based courses. That includes the first year writing sequence, business and technical type writing, and creative writing under the WRT writing prefix. You will find some literature courses under the LIT prefix, LIT, and you'll find still other opportunities to study literature in the humanities department, which is HUM. Many of the English faculty also teach in humanities. So if you're interested in reading literature, particularly literature that's outside of the English and American literary traditions, a good place to go is the humanities department, where we have the 251, 253 sequence, which goes from sort of the beginning of what we know as Western civilization to 1400 in the first course, and then 1400 to the present in the other course. It's a lot of ground to cover, but it's fascinating. We also have, through the humanities department, a mythology course, which will familiarize yourself. You can familiarize yourself with several world mythologies, not just Greek and Roman, but some others, including Aztec and others. And Humanities 260, which is American cultural history and literature and arts of populations, underrepresented populations, and populations of color. If you have an interest in studying writing or literature, we really encourage you to consider continuing your studies past that first year writing sequence. The first year writing sequence is the heart of our department, but we've got lots more for you, and we welcome you. Thanks.
Go ahead, Chuck.
Okay. Hi, my name's Chuck Becker. I'm the head librarian here at East Campus. And I wanted to talk to you about some programs that you may not know that we have at Pima, and that's the LIS classes that we have, the Library and Information Science classes. We carry 3 of those classes, and in reference to what Maggie said, people will always ask, like, what would I do with library science? And the key with library science is that's really a really small subsection of the information sciences in general. So what these classes that we're starting to build at Pima really flow into the University of Arizona's College of Social and Behavioral Sciences School of Information classes. And so you can get an e-society degree, you can get an informatics degree, you can get a data analysis. And so what you're really looking at is the types of jobs that people are flowing into in the 21st century. Jobs that include, online content creation, social media research and information research, marketing, a lot of marketing, to tell you the truth, a lot of marketing, digital marketing, and a host of technology settings that are coming up. So it's not just libraries or maker spaces, it's data, it's information technologies, a lot of jobs that deal with user experience and data analysis that you don't really think about until you start taking classes like some of the beginning classes we have at Pima. So we have 3 classes now under Library and Information Sciences. Our first is LIS 150, Social Media and Ourselves. And it's basically exactly that. It's a focus on social media sites and the various implications and functions of social media in our contemporary times, and how it affects us psychologically and socially, and how we can study that and how we theorize about it, and many of the theories that comprise and the social mechanisms of social media. And then there's LIS 210, Hacking and Open Source Culture. This is exactly, I hate to say it, it's exactly what it is. It's hacking and open source culture. We look at it from a historical, social, and cultural perspective. We also look at its impact on alternative, alternative ways of life, and its impact on traditional intellectual property law versus what's developing in the 21st century. We also look at it in that way of how we look at digital society and the role of government and private enterprise in that society in the 21st century. And then we also offer LIS 260, which is Learning in the Information Age. This is a really good course if you're thinking of becoming an educator at the U of A, because it goes in that direction, or can be applied in that direction. And then that's basically just the study of how digital technologies are changing the way people learn. It seems kind of obvious because we're all digital now, and we're actually talking on Zoom and doing things, that people didn't think about 20, 30 years ago. So, but LIS 260, you're basically looking at the development of learning theories that have developed because, or to support research in emerging areas such as online education. You're looking at AI and human learning and how that's going to transform the future of learning. And so the key is, I just want people to know that, these courses are out here. And if you want to dip your toe in information science courses, this is a growing field that not just at the U of A, but many other colleges are starting, bachelor programs in information science and society. And a lot of them will cover a lot of the same things: social networking theories, digital storytelling, how information is manipulated or propagandized, digital discourse in general. You'll always get a lot of web design in there, and you'll always get a lot of the impact of social media on daily life, things like that. So it's a good grouping of courses if you're into thinking critically about the information technologies that we use, and how we understand them, and how we cooperate through them, and how it drives our behavior, and our behaviors drive them, and things like that. So just wanted to bring that up.